Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Crypto Morning Coffee. I got my coffee locked and loaded, ready to go because we have to talk about the direction of Bitcoin after the halving. And the halving is only 2 days away, 2 days and a couple of hours, and there are some indicators that show that we might see some volatile price action and which direction that goes. You will see right after the intro. So, where's my can? Where's my stuff? Please load. There we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning to each and every one of you. I see a couple of you are already in the chat and online. Gaming Evolved. Hello, everybody. And Trucking Hank, my rare hodlers. Welcome to the stream, and everyone else here. Make sure to smash up the like button for the stream right now, right in the beginning to pump it out. push like button, exactly. That is very important for the stream to come out. Other than that, if you are not subscribed yet, consider subscribing during the stream if you like what you see. And if you want to support the stream, like sponsor the stream, then you can become one of the rare. If I find the space, then you can become one with the Rare Hodler family here, and that would be mint number 35. So yeah, consider that by becoming a YouTube channel member. That's all you need to do, and then you would be invited to the exclusive Telegram group as well. Anyways, let's get started right away. So the halving is only 2 days and 9 hours away at the moment and would fall on the 19th of April. So that is not much. This time can vary though, and the closer we are getting, the more accurate it is, obviously, but it can still jump around in a couple of hours. So that is coming up fairly soon, and there are a couple of people that have high hopes on the on this halving, and I'm here to destroy those hopes. Because this halving is, yes, cutting the supply in half. It is increasing the cost of production for Bitcoin by 100%. Yet it does not, at the exact time when it happens, it does not mean that these effects are kicking in right away. So if you've mined right at the hour a Bitcoin at 30,000 price, and the 2 hours later the cost of Bitcoin doubles, that you can still sell that Bitcoin in a profit, right? Because you mined it before. So that's basically one reason why there's nothing happening directly. But I want to go a little bit deeper into that. And in my opinion, we could see more downside. So don't be scared if there's more downside with the halving, or more sideways action at least with the halving. And I will lay out a couple of reasons. But on the other hand, something very bullish has happened in the last week, and I did not make a video about it, although I wanted to, because I was traveling a lot, and I was also doing a medical treatment to get rid of some heavy metal in my body. So all for the health. Everything is fine, right? It's nothing too big or not too bad. It's more like, I don't know, it's like an advanced detox, right? But here we go. So Hong Kong approved spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF applications. That is the bullish side. And Hong Kong is one of the top 10 richest cities in the world. So there is something to it. And I think the big emphasis is here on the Ethereum ETF. Now, why is there no effect? Because they approved it officially on Monday, but they didn't start trading on Monday. So that is a difference. And it can take until the end of the month. It can take until the beginning of the next month or so, until these things start trading and also absorbing Bitcoin and then ETF from the market. So I think the big thing will be once this is announced that they are trading. So yeah, that is a price driver to the upside. But let's look a little bit more. So we have in the US, we heard that the inflation is up by a couple of 0.2 or 0.3% to 3.5% inflation. And what we have here is now credit card delinquency rates. And why, some people could say, why are you always looking at the US? If you're from Germany, take care of your own country, blah, blah, blah. The US is the indicator for the world, so to say, where things are going mostly, although that at least the official inflation rates look a little bit better in Europe right now than in the US, which might be complete bullshit because it depends on how you put together the basket of necessary needs and so on. But what we are basically seeing here is that the rate of credit card delinquency, so basically when you're not paying your credit card debt anymore, are the worst on record. They have been getting better a little bit, but then suddenly they are skyrocketing, and that is obviously not a good sign, because that basically means that something in the economy is breaking. And if something in the economy is breaking, that means it needs fixing, but the inflation rate is still high. So the common means to fixing by lowering the rates is not a given for the Fed at the moment. So they're basically in a trap here. Because if you have high rates, then your delinquency rate shoots up obviously at some point, because there are people that overextended on credit card and they cannot pay it back, right? So I would say that is the first indicator that things could be going sideways. Now, why is that? Why is that overextension? Because some people have the tendency to do everything on credit card, and instead of reducing their lifestyle, they are basically going maintaining the lifestyle on credit, which during the year after the pandemic, when energy prices were high and the cost of the pandemic kicked in, many people were not willing to do. So total credit card debt has skyrocketed in recent months and is now at 1.3 trillion. So there are 1.3 trillion running on these high debt. The average credit card interest rate is also at record 28%, according to Forbes. So if the average credit card rate is at almost 30%, that means that these 1.3 trillion are increasing by 30%, probably a yearly credit card rate though. Meaning that if you're $1,000 in debt, you're paying an extra $280 on top of it. Okay, not good, not good at all. And the reason for that is obviously, if you look at CPI, at core inflation and so on, you're okay. I mean, 3.5%. Who cares, right? And there's a common misconception that I even see on podcasts when people are invited to the podcast and talk about inflation rates. They're like, oh, inflation is down by 2% or 3%, but things are still getting more expensive. People think there is a common misconception, and that is that if inflation rate goes down, that prices will come down, but it's actually not. It's prices go up by X%, by the percent of the inflation average or more. And when the inflation comes down, they just go up less from where they are. So let's say you have a $10 item in the supermarket, inflation was 10%, so it's now costing $11. It's not coming down. Inflation is now 3%, so there's another 30 cents on top of it, or something like that, right? So you just have the rate in which everything gets more expensive getting less, so everything gets less fast expensive, so to say, with a not fast, with a less amount to the upside. Okay, makes sense. So if we are looking at the fast food price of inflation, we can see that it's nothing. Like, look at that. McDonald's went up 100% over, and this is over several years, right? But you can really see that with 2019, the increase here is hard, and it's a good indicator because a lot of people are consuming that, right? So you can really look at, okay, McDonald's 100%, Popeyes 86, I don't even know what that is, but this is Taco Bell 81%, and so on over all that time. Now that's clearly not what salaries did in those years. I bet that most people, and most of the effect went from 2019, I bet that most people did not get 100% raise, all counting together, from 2014 to 2024. So obviously the cost of living, if you're extrapolating this to everything else, like, for example, take here eggs in the supermarket in Germany. Like, you take the standard supermarket eggs, they were like €2. They were like $1.99 in 2019, and they are $3.30 now. Which is like, it's a roughly 10% per year. Not really, not 10% on top of 10%, but 30% over the time. So, oh yeah, Popeyes is like KFC. Okay, yeah, so 86% there. I don't know what that is, but yeah, you get the idea, right? Here's a Burger King and Wendy's, which I already heard. Subway only 40%, and then you have the actual inflation that is communicated, and therefore this is the black line, which you could not see yet, luckily. The actual communicated inflation over all these years is only 31%. So it is kind of for people probably also, I mean, I'm not saying that fast food is essential to living, but I think everyone who goes into a supermarket or whatever can see certain items that they buy day after day that they can remember back, that either the size of what you get per pack shrinked, so shrinkflation, so to say, or the price went up. And if you compare it with the actual numbers of the yearly inflation, they probably don't add up. For example, if you go for gas, like for your car, that's up at least 100%. Ypsilon, I am from Germany. Tito says, hey, hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, I hope so too. But where I'm getting with all of that, Chairman Powell in the US, dealing with inflation and everything else, right? Based chairman of the Fed, dealing with money printing, so to say, says the recent data, so this is a summary, but he said yesterday, the recent data shows a lack of further progression on inflation. So inflation is from 3.2% back up, CPI, back up to 3.5%. Inflation has introduced new uncertainty on whether the Fed can cut rates later this year. Fed can maintain higher rates for as long as needed, or as long as something breaks, I would add here. Recent data has not given greater confidence on inflation. Restrictive Fed policy needs more time to work. It will likely take longer to regain confidence on inflation. So that means the Fed will not pivot. And if the Fed does not pivot, these credit card rates will stay high. And also what that means is companies and private people, they will not take on new loans. And if they will not take on new loans, that means they cannot afford a house or an apartment in the city or something like that, because no one with a normal job at like in the macro, like in what most people can afford to buy a house without taking on a credit. If they cannot afford to buy a house and cannot take on a credit, the housing market will go down more and more, and prices should be going down, but due to many governments putting in some artificial scarcity on construction building, also by limiting the areas where you can do it. All these prices will stay artificially high, so no one can buy, no one can build new homes and houses. Yeah, that is bad. And main factor, if companies and private people don't take on new loans, the banks don't have new stuff where they can get interest, or they can get interest on and make money. So banks also will have a tough time if that stays high for longer. They make money right now on the existing credits. That is a fact, but no new business if people are not taking on credits. James Nguyen says, you will own nothing and be happy. Yeah, that is one of the, for everyone who doesn't know, that was one of the quote, this was a advertisement spot from the World Economic Forum for like something like a not too distant future in their plan for mankind. And part of that would be like, oh, you can be happy without owning anything. So you shouldn't look at ownership. But I think that especially crypto, NFTs, everyone that is here and looking at, hey, what can we do differently? What can we do different from the standard 9 to 5? What can we do different from investing? What can we do different in terms of ownership? How we have more participation, more ownership? The crypto trend is actually the absolute opposite. You can own, you can take ownership by tokenization in certain things, and that is better than before, right? It's like if you own a stock and it's tokenized, you would have instantly written rights to, for example, the main assembly to vote, right? There are DAOs now for crypto where you can vote and take part in the direction of a project, how it's going. So pretty interesting. Do I want to know? How are you? Oh, I read your name. Do I want to know? As a question to me, and I was confused about the do I want to know? How am I? I'm fine. I'm just a little bit tired of because of all the traveling and stuff, and I have to do one more later, and maybe next week also. Could be that I have to travel to France next week. We will see. But nothing has changed in terms of this channel. Trying to do crypto morning coffee as often as possible. Unfortunately, you guys had nothing for like the last days, but I will do my very best to bring crypto morning coffee and additional videos. Okay, let's look at the Bitcoin ETF quickly. To just see the Bitcoin ETF accumulation, and we see that in the last days we had slight negatives of 55, 36 and 63 million cumulative. So we see here still BlackRock and Fidelity, they are still accumulating, buying. But ARK has another red day, and GBTC has had an increased selling again. And I think, so a couple of people were speculating that after Genesis is done selling, that this selling pressure would go away. But you have to see that Grayscale has a 1.5% fee on their ETF. So probably everyone who is in their right mind and wants to hold Bitcoin longer is going to sell GBTC and buy one of the other ETFs on the other side. So technically you would expect that basically all Bitcoin in Grayscale should be sold and on the other side bought, like a zero-sum effect, on the other side bought by one of these ETFs, right? Because it's not the ETF, it's not the asset manager themselves that is buying the Bitcoin. It's someone buying the ETF share, and they have to buy the Bitcoin. Okay. So I would say that Grayscale selling is continuing, which is another factor of why the halving is probably not going to kick in as hard at the moment, because just we have the ETF effect. Now it's balancing out with grayscale, and we will see a continued grayscale drain. So I'd say, we might be looking at sideways to downside action, right? We have the Hong Kong news, that's good. We have the inflation news, that's bad. We have no rate cuts for the foreseeable future. I'd say rate cuts probably to the end of the year, when something really seriously breaks. And that could be bank collapses, that can be mass credit card defaults, that can be, I don't know. But then they probably have to cut the rates. But they will extend it as long as nothing breaks. Okay, so here's the main reason, and I will move now our ass to the left. Here's the main reason why I think that we will go down more for Bitcoin. Okay, so this is the Bitcoin price, and this, what we're looking at, is the Binance perpetual liquidation heat map. What does that mean? It basically shows you where longs and shorts are stacked, and where the most liquidity basically sits. And we can see here that the biggest liquidity that we can see over the past 3 months sits at this area of 50,000. So 50 to 52,000. And you see also that to the upside, there are shorts, probably mostly short stacked, at 71,000. Okay, so the shorters are at the moment, the bears are at the moment in control, driving the price down. There is nothing in between. So there's almost nothing in between. There is a little bit of reaction to expect at 58,000 if we go there. But then it's basically a free fall to 50 to 52,000. And that coincides with levels, which I will show you. But what the tendency usually is that the price gets magnetized by these liquidity zones. Yeah. So that the liquidity leverage, so to say, yeah, the leveraged longs that are sitting there, the price gets magnetized towards these highlighted areas. Okay, so if we have that, then now we can move back. Then we can look with this outlook to our price action in Bitcoin. Why is that? Okay, there we go. Let's just quickly refresh this. And we have been forming, whoops, there we go. So bear with me here. I'm going to open it so we can all see something. We have been expecting before that to break to the upside. I mean, it kind of tried to, or basically they formed a bull trap here. The market formed a bull trap and then broke to the downside. But we actually said on stream, so I have to say that we expected this to go to the upside with a higher percentage, which did not happen. So RIP, right? Wrong prediction. Unfortunately, now we'll have to see. We have a bearish retest here on the lower side with this candle, and now we bounced on the support, but we have knocked the support quite a bit already. Yeah, so there is not a guarantee that this will hold and we will just continue to the upside. And if we assume that the halving is a non-event, then we could imagine that if we form a lower high here, so for example something like this, that we then come to this lower area of 57,000. And if you remember the liquidation heat map, now I will do it in another way. I will do it like this. If you remember the liquidation heat map, that is where there's a little bit of reaction. Okay, and then we could, if this breaks, it's not a guarantee, right? I'm just theorizing what could happen. We could see us going to that 50, and we see this was a previous hard resistance area. So what we could do is basically, in the grand scheme of things, if we say this is our resistance area, right? This is where all the liquidity sits, okay? It was previous resistance, we could flip it into support, okay? And bounce here and form a macro lower, a macro higher low. So we would go with this, and from there rally hard to the upside. I'm not saying that this is not buy the dip territory right now, but I'm saying that there could be several events lining up leading to another 20% downside here for Bitcoin, bringing us a total dip of 30%, which would be in line with everything that we have seen in other bull markets. That there is an actual 30+% correction coming in, maybe even wicking into this area where all that liquidity sits, that we see here on the, you see the same thing like I can here, right? This is the area that we are marking. Here's the liquidity. So we could come down to that, wick into that, and go back up, liquidate all the leverage positions there, and then move up again, right? That could take a while. And I mean, we have the halving, and after 2 days after the halving, everyone will be, okay, what's next? What now? No one will be like, oh, the halving, I have to buy now, because, yeah. So this is a real possibility. I will leave this drawn in as long as we're looking at it. We are going to observe it as close as possible. With regards to the cycle where we are in right now, on the monthly, just taking a look at our factors of the broader cycle. So we have our first red candle after, and it's not close, it's not over yet. We still have 13 days. We could just turn into green. ETFs are buying as crazy, and we are gone, right? So we are in the next. But this is the most green candles on a monthly that Bitcoin has ever formed. This is 7 in a row. So wouldn't surprise to have a red candle. Also here, look at these bull markets. We have red candles in it sometimes. Also here we have some red candles in it, and then we topped out. So what we're seeing here, and this is something that I want to show you, is considering that cycle, and I think we're really very close to this cycle this time, or more repeating this pattern. I said this over and over and over again, and you see this spike here at the RSI, which was at 80, and now we had a spike here to 77, so almost the same, and we're coming down. We're coming down a little bit, and after that, there should be, after closing a red month, there should be more upside. So could we close this a little bit lower to the point where we set it? We could, from everything that we saw in the past. Also here, it doesn't look like it, but I mean, if we take a measurement of that, I don't know if that's even possible on the scale. Yeah, that's a 35%, this little red candle here, right? It's a 35% move. So that if we would have the same, I'd even say, look, this looks like we mimic this cycle really hard. And then we would have all of that upside coming in after this month. There's another event, sell in May, go away, and then you come back in September. That is also a possibility to play into this, because this usually happens in the stock market. Putting in our lines, we see the halving is right here, and we are still far away from our TSI trend line. On the bottom you see it here. So there's still halfway, I would say we're halfway through the bull market. And halfway through means we have the first phase of the bull market completed with the halving now, and now we are going into the second phase, which is a more explosive phase that ends with a Bitcoin top, and that leads into the altcoin season. So I would say I personally am not doing anything with my holdings until I see these indicators match up here. So it would be the first time that Bitcoin does such a low RSI and just goes back to where it came from. So I would say that Bitcoin is going to go a lot higher. We have our target at 135K. We will see if we will meet it. Some people say we are going to go way beyond that. We will see. The fact of the matter is that we are definitely in a Bitcoin season, as we said it a long time ago. And Walrus King says, can't wait for alt NFT season. That season is only going to happen in 2025. I'm pretty sure about that. Unless we're topping out for Bitcoin like in the next 1 or 2 months, there's no way that alt season and NFT season are still coming in this year. It could like somewhat start in this year. But we see here Bitcoin dominance went up to 57% at some point when the alts were crashing, and now it sits at 55.7%. That is a lot higher than it was since last year. So basically we were at the same dominance since last year October till a couple of weeks ago, and now we broke out, and it is very likely that Bitcoin is going to outperform the alts for another couple of months. So as long as this goes up, you cannot expect your altcoins do these crazy multiples as they are doing. Everything that altcoins are doing is nothing compared to what is going to happen next. Let's look at the altcoins also. Here we go. Weekly chart. Okay, so you see that we're still with our prediction here, and you see that we did the same sell-off almost. There's a little bit room to go. We did the same sell-off as we did last year, because where did we get this prediction line from? We just said if anything is an indicator, then the last run. Okay, so you see that we have pumped earlier than here, but in the overall pattern we are realigned almost. We're like off by 2 weeks. We're only off by 3 weeks. This sell-off, I mean, if we go lower, we are off by 2 weeks, because this sell-off is basically where it went to. So it says basically it's going to, if you look here, the sell-off that we had in the altcoin space was last time at around the same time in the cycle, 26% market cap. So many altcoins bled like 30-40%. This is the total 3, so it's not with Ethereum, but let's put in a resistance line here. Also here you see hit our head resistance, came back up, and then massive correction on top of the resistance. So if we would say that same thing happens here today, right now, then here is our resistance, and you could say then, massive sell-off on resistance and go, right? Something like that. I mean, if you would take the wick, then it would be here, right? If you would take this previous wick for that. So that would mean that altcoins have a little bit more to bleed. If that was the case, 15% more would happen if Bitcoin also bleeds. If Bitcoin bleeds, altcoins bleed harder. That is at the moment the case, and it's correct at the moment, as we saw. No matter what, I think in the long term of things, that's probably the last, what's happening right now is probably the last buying opportunity that we're going to get before that massive run up. And that massive run up will more or less look like this. And this is like, if this is over, this phase, and it can take another month or so, but if this once this phase is over, we are going to go up, never stop. How was it here also, right? That after this, let's just take the candle bodies until the next correction. There was a 200 71% move, which would mean that besides your Bitcoin and besides your Ethereum, everything would go do a 3x. No, almost a 4x on average, and smaller coins way more than that. Okay, and then you would have another like nasty correction where people are probably like, oh, the market is over. 30%, yeah, if we mimic everything. Green Lantern GM Brothers, PH is back. Terminator voice, very good, very good. Should I then end the stream with like hasta la vista, baby? But definitely, yeah. So this is what we were looking at, and we also see here we had a huge RSI spike, okay, on the weekly. Now this on the monthly. Let's look at the so same thing here on the monthly, right? We did not look at this on the monthly, but you can see basically how this altcoin market is not even overbought. Not even overbought. So this, I mean, we didn't have something like that before, but this basically means, hey, here is a room for a 92 RSI still, or something like that. If I see something like that in the altcoin market going to 90 RSI, probably time to sell. Probably time to sell. You see here when you hit the 90 RSI, if you had sold here, not too bad, not too bad. It's not the top, but it's close to the top. Energy says, good morning. Who is buying comics today? Oh, good question. Yeah, so let's skip the rest of the charts and look at the Ecomi whale chart. Oh, Ecomi on the monthly. Look at that. Ecomi on the monthly. Yeah. Oh, by the way, let's get rid of this. Yeah, not too conclusive, right? Yeah, as predicted, we did in fact visit this zone. Yeah, this revisited this accumulation zone for Ecomi. We are bad red, deep down. Everyone's FUDDing. This will carry on as long as no one cares about NFTs, metaverse, and digital collecting, which is the case at the moment, because we in our bubble, we think everyone cares, but in fact only 1,000 people or so care. We saw that at some drops that way more people care. So we also saw that about 13,000 people got Ecomi logos. So that means there is a lot of OMI in the app. 576 people with more than 10 million OMI in the app got a secret rare airdrop for Ecomi. So that means that these, if I'm calculating that correctly, that is a 5.7 billion OMI in the app. Is that correct? Or is that stupid? So a million times 500 would be 576 million. And then it's 10 million, so it should be 5.76 billion, right? Will you buy this OG Ecomi SR logo, PH? Well, I hope so, but the problem with this is that I did not have 10 million, right? So I didn't have the OMI in the app, and I did not have 10 million anyway, so I would have only gotten like the 30 gem logo. Which, if you calculate it with all the bridging and sending, probably I can just buy one of these logos and I'm good with the fees. But I know there's more benefits to it, like MCPs and tickets and so on. Will I buy an OG Ecomi logo? I want to, but I think it's sitting at $1,000, right? So right now $1,000 gives me 2 million OMI. Yeah, there is only one change for you to get it. You have to buy it. Exactly. Yeah, true. So. I would have to buy it, and I can, yeah, chance, yeah. Uh, I have to buy it, and why would I do that? If I expect, so I expect more return from any altcoin, including Ecomi, than the logo can give me, no matter what the perks are. Because I doubt that the Ecomi logo will have better perks than the Veve logo. People are asking me always about Gary, but yes. Can you look at Gary? Yeah, why not? We can look at Gary. We did look at Gary, and it looked not too good, right? But this is a Gary token on OKX. Just quickly, let's go on the weekly. It looks not good. So you don't want to be you don't want to be in this token until it breaks the downtrend, right? So this is this sell-off means people got dumped on hard. So this was like, that is, so 98% sold off. So you see here some whales did a big purchase, and now the TSI also is looking downward. So I'd say there is more. Probably it's going to revisit this lower area. So if there's any reason to buy this, which I'm not familiar too much with this token, so I don't know, but I would say that from here, Gary token is going to dump another 60% or so, as long as this upper trend line is not broken. At some point, maybe it's going to be broken, but I don't know if this project is still alive. So I cannot give you any hints, advice on this, but it doesn't look good. I have to be honest, doesn't look good. I don't know what they do. I think it's a social file that's very popular in India, right? Car R says, hi from Los Angeles. Can you please explain how MCP works right now? I thought I understood it, but I clearly don't. I have 4 million OMI and am Platinum 3 with 174k MCP points, level 33. Yes, I can. Okay, so MCP. How does it work? So you have two components to accumulate MCP. The first is collectibles. So every collectible has a base value of MCP that you get for holding it every day. So once you purchase a collectible, you will start accumulating these points per day. These MCP points are going to be added every 24 hours to your account and increase your number of MCP points. The more MCP points you get per day, the higher your rank is, but you will not lose a rank for spending MCP. It's only the daily rate of MCP determines what your rank is. So the rank is separate from, so you said Platinum, the rank is separate. So if you have 4,000 MCPs per day, you're a master collector. If you have 800 per day, you're a diamond 4 or something like that, or diamond 3, okay? So that is only your accumulation per day. Then you have like the daily points, they're added onto your account, and you can use them to get an advantage over other people in the market on a specific drop that you want. So on every drop, there is a percentage of the drop reserved for people that are spending MCP. And what they basically do is, once you enter the queue and you place a bid for MCP, they put in a ranking of all the people that placed MCPs, and everyone who is in like every rank, so the person with the highest MCP gets a collectible for sure, the second highest gets for sure, and then after a while, after this percentage of drop is basically allocated to the latest rank, everyone else drops out. Even though they placed some MCP, everyone else gets kicked out of that threshold. Their MCP will not be deducted and they will participate in the other part of the drop together with everyone else. So, for example, what already happened to me was that I bid MCP, I didn't get it because of the MCP, so no MCP deducted, but I got it on the random part with everyone else. And then you can also lose there and you basically don't get anything. That's the worst case. But you will not lose MCP. The only way that you lose MCP and get nothing is if you bid MCP, you are allocated and you don't buy. Then you will lose the MCP and you don't get anything. Okay, so that is how it works. So the MCP will put you into that ranking to guarantee get a drop if you match the MCP points that that at least the last one in that ranking gets. So for example, let's say let's say this is the drop allocation and it's 2,000 editions and they reserve 20% for MCP. Then they will fill up these 400 collectibles. So this is 400, right? This is 400 collectibles. So they will make a ranking of the top 400 bidders and they all get one collectible assigned. And then they have this rest, these other 1.6k allocated to the rest of people. But if there are 3,000 people participating, 1,000 people will go away with nothing. Okay, so that's basically how it looks. Yeah. Oh shit, the chat was in front of it. There you go. So 2,400 get something instant, 1.6k random allocation, and 3,000 participants means 1,000 without anything. So that is how MCP works. And then there's the other component where you have OMI in the app, and the OMI in the app will give you also master collector points per day. It will increase your number, but it's not much. I think 1 million gives you only like 50 points per day extra. And the more people are putting Ecomi in the app, the less MCP you will earn, because it's basically a fixed MCP number. And the more people are putting OMI in the app, the lower this overall share per person goes, because you share with more people. That's basically what's happening. So, and why is MCP valuable? At the moment, everyone has tons of MCP. We see that right now with drops like Wolverine. So there were people that bid like 100k MCP. So if you are getting 1000 MCP and you would just bid 100k, that person has a cooldown of 100 days, right? I mean, you basically said it yourself. You have 174k. There is a nice drop. Like, there's the drop of your life. Let's say for me that would be like One Piece is dropping, and it's and you get a Zoro ultimate animated, swinging the swords, looking good, like good. Okay, so I'll put, like, I go all in. After that, I will have to save or buy more collectibles or put more OMI to get more MCP. Carl says, I want to just buy collectibles and comics with MCP, or even better, OMI. Yeah. So with MCP, that will probably not happen, or at least not now. There's no function now to use MCP to buy directly, because MCP is not a currency in the sense of that you can use it in a monetary way. OMI to NFT is announced to come. So in the official article, it's mentioned as one priority for this year. So if I were them, I would wait until the narrative shifts back to NFTs, and then I would announce OMI to NFT. because otherwise, if you announce it now, no one cares. The price will stay low and they will be out of things. James says, I'm new. Is MCP the future of tokenization? No, MCP is just an in-game currency that increases your chances, so to say. It doesn't buy you anything. It's not the future of tokenization. It's a tool in the Veve app. Energy says, I need more of everything. I have the feeling I have too less small fish. Energy, you're not a small fish. If you are in the top 100 of all collectors, you're definitely not a small fish. And but the feeling will never go away. That's why Bezosman is buying still collectibles with 50,000 almost. Do I want to know, sorry for flooding your chat, just trying to correct your concern on Gari. Surgifier, yes. Look at short-term time frame. I see it hitting order block and pumping huge. That big red candle was after FTX, just like Luna, but now Gari is burning. Okay, but still, as I said, that is a downtrend, and it's even worse than Ecomi. I'm just giving my opinion, right? It's even worse than Ecomi because Ecomi is in a sideways base forming trend, and Gari is, I mean, it had some kind of a spring moment here. So if what I would want to see is that this here forms a higher low, okay, and then breaks out. And on that breakout, yes, probably time to buy. But I don't know anything about this token, so. But this is nothing for me where I would say, okay, I want to buy this now, right? I mean, this looks kind of good, right? But the whole thing not appealing to me, to be honest, to be very honest. And I could be wrong, and I hope it will make you insanely rich. Yes, but yeah. Energy says MCP stands for Master Collector Points for James. Just in-game points to give you some advantages for drops and later on more. James says MCP is the equivalent of HRO points. Yes, but seems very, very cool. Yeah, absolutely. I think the concept is very good. I think they now have to balance so that people are really running into scarcity with those points, right? So, for example, I'm sitting on 450,000 waiting for something that I really, really want. And here's the thing. So for example, I did not participate. Yeah, I did not even participate in Wolverine because I was actually driving at the time and I forgot about it. But let's just consider it's something bigger than Wolverine, and probably the moment that the attention returns to Veve and to NFTs, they're probably going to come with bigger stuff. I mean, last time that the attention was high, they dropped the golden moments for the first time, and they went hard on comics like Grail comics and so on. I think there could be something like that, right? Are the whales a concern for the OMI token? Yes, with regards to the potential upside, because if you have people sitting on billions of tokens, you might have increased whale selling going on while you are approaching previous all-time high. Energy says, I have 3.8 million MCP work on my fourth. Here's the thing. So this is also something to consider. If you're looking at MCP and you're looking at what some people like Energy have at MCP, it doesn't matter if Energy has 4 million. He can participate in a lot of drops with that. That's true. But if you have an allocation like we outlined it here, 400, you just need to be better with your MCP bid than number 399. You don't have to beat Energy that is maybe number 10, right? You only have to be better than the last one. So you don't have to compete with a whale to be able to secure a drop. if you are looking at what people are bidding and winning and what people are bidding and not, you get the idea that at the moment people are bidding high to get some drops, but this might be decreasing over time as some people run into, oh, I have 0 MCP, I will not be able to get this drop, right? And for me, definitely, for me personally, I want to wait with my MCP allocation, because I know that with 500 collectibles, I'm probably ahead of many people, but still below the top 500 or so. I'm probably in the top 1000, but not in the top 500. So I might get everything on a little bit higher allocation with a big MCP bid, right? So let's just say they will drop Pokemon in the bull run. Then I want to have MCP for that. Then I'm probably going to go all in, right? Yeah. James says, you guys are flexing MCP, I'm sad. Hey, it's just that, right? You don't even have to be you don't even have to have more MCP than me, right? So for example, let's say that you have a couple of thousand MCP accumulated, you will be able to secure a drop with that. If it's not like the most desired drop in the world, you will be able to secure one maybe with MCP. And even if you don't have MCP, there is a big chunk that you can get without MCP. So every drop that you're like, okay, I would like to have that, but I don't want to have MCP, I want to save the MCP, you just go for the drop, and you will like, do you do 10 drops, you will probably secure 8 of them and miss out on 2 or something like that, right? Just fiction numbers here. But anyways, guys, we did not look at so here quickly the drop calendar. Yesterday we had the Deadpool, is not crossed out yet. Today we have new comics on Veve Comics. I'm going to look at them later. We will have a stamp drop on the 20th. They are always, like, people always like to gamble the six gems, so stamps always sell pretty good. And then we have the Lamborghini Aventador, I think, on the 21st. So that is the drop schedule. Oh, the Silver Surfer comic, I forgot. This is the drop schedule for the next days. Yeah, so nothing too special here. I think the Lamborghini is going to be quite good. But for now, guys, that's it for today. So I'm going to jump here already. Yeah, Energy says we are 3 years here already. Don't be worried. It's still not too late to enter the Veve MCP game. By the way, it's probably right now is the best time to enter, because everything is on discount. Everything is low. You can even get drops that have sold for MCP, like the Black Suit Spider-Man, at around retail prices without having spent any MCPs. So if anyone's interested, this might be the time to get into the app and to just grab some things. But guys, that's it. Smash up the like button. Right now, please, everyone, we had about 40 people. Some people jumped already. So please, let's get some 35 likes or so on this stream. Let's also subscribe to the channel if you like these live streams. And wherever you are on the world, have yourselves a great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon. Happy collecting, and I see you